There is such a creature in the world. They were discovered by a few people, but it has not been confirmed to exist. We refer to this group of creatures as unidentified mysterious animal. Unidentified organism referred to as UMA.
Hello and welcome to the UMA video series. Van Meter. It's a small town in southern Iowa, located west of Des Moines. Early 1840s. U.S. government, in the form of a treaty, tribes of 4 storks and foxes move west and have substantial control of the land. Fertile soil and abundant products. Mass construction soon attracted white pioneers. Cottages and churches went up. As time goes by, more and more immigrants come here to seek opportunities. They also brought diverse religious beliefs, animal beliefs, elements such as witchcraft and supernatural worship. By the end of the 19th century and the beginning of the 20th century, as the embryonic period of modern natural science, for the general public, no matter how bizarre things can happen. And today, I want to share with you the theme. It also had an impact on people's perception during that period. A species that appeared in the United States earlier than the swan man. Large humanoid flying animal. Van Meter monster. Van Meter monster, also known as the Van Meter visitor. The exact name depends on the media reporting. People describe, this is a flying animal that's half human, half tree. Height is around 8 to 9 feet. They have a couple that look like bats, but they're not normal. Huge magic wings. Red, there's an orthotic appendage on the top of the eye. It will shine brightly. It's immune to bullets. As if not of this world? Year 2013. 3 American paranormal investigators, Chad Lewis, Noah Worth and Kevin Reynolson. Detailed account of the Van Meter monster incident. Detailed investigation, renting a house and the information it will collect. It was put together into a book because Van Meter visitor. Below, I will use the content of this book as my main reference, combined with the paper eyebrow report of the year, in chronological order of events. Share with everyone. Around 1 a.m. on September 29, 1903. Farm tool merchant in Van Meter, Julius Griffith. It's like walking into the city. Passing by the Mather Gregg building. Suddenly I found that the roof was like a lighthouse. Emit a bright light. But there were no lights there before. He suspected that a thief might have made it to the roof. So I slowly approached the building. But just as he was about to come to the building, and something unexpected happened. That light suddenly moved to the upstairs across the street. And he breathed a sigh of relief. Because it's definitely not a burglar. But also surprised. He really couldn't figure out what kind of glow it was. Can cross the sky. How did he move? He didn't follow. He went home. In the local area, Griffith is a reliable, respected person, is a member of the town council. So, when he told his neighbors what had happened to him, people didn't think he was making up a story. Strange world happened here the next night. September 30th, 1903 at 12:30 a.m. Van Meet's village doctor, Arkert, was arrested for a while. Wake up by bright light. That day, he rested in the apartment behind the office. And the light just came in through the window. It's impossible for a doctor to wake him up in this way. Thinking of this, he grabbed the gun at hand and ran out. I ran into the light source head-on. A creature beyond comprehension. He described it as a half-human, half-beast monster, with huge wings like a bat. There is another one in the middle of his forehead. Short, dull horns. Shine a dazzling light. And at this point, he's already closing in on the creature. But I smelled a dizzying stench. Too late to think. He decided to shoot the animal directly. After 5 consecutive gunshots, Archer discovered bullets didn't work wonders on this creature. It made him feel incredibly terrified. Immediately returned to the office. Locked all doors and windows. A pistol with 1 bullet left in its hand. Waiting for dawn. He doesn't know when the creature left. The atmosphere of the town, after people heard Colcott's story, start to make a change. Combined with Griffith's report the night before, make these things sound more appealing. Creepy. However, Van Meet's bank manager, Clancy Dunn, thinks strange events may have originated from the praise of thieves. As the regional head, he has to protect people's property. So that night, he decided to go to the front page of the bank. He felt that no one could resist. Against the live shotgun in his hand. Soon it will be 1 a.m. again. Some finger mold. It was 2 a.m. The town bell is ringing. Then Clancy also heard outside the window. A strange sound came. A kind of beast-like gasp. He looked out curiously. Suddenly a bright mail tree shine on him through the front window. The sudden blinding light nearly blinded him. When the eyes relax, he looked again. Something huge appeared there. He could no longer tolerate the lift. Tried to aim at the creature and fire at close range. Due to panic, he didn't chase after. Didn't open the window. Bullets shattered glass and window frames. Then the light fades away. Clancy doesn't know. How did that thing leave? But heavy-duty animals shouldn't get far. The next day, the town did a search. But in addition to finding a few suspicious footprints, we found nothing. According to the Daily News, Clancy, a plaster cast of one of the footprints. On the night of October 1st, 1903, Mr. White, the merchant at Van Meet Hardware, down by a strange hiss. The sound came from above his shop. The strange thing that has happened frequently recently, he still picked up the gun and walked up. He opened the window, staring at the street with light rain, but found nothing. But soon his eyes adjusted to the darkness. He suddenly saw a nearby telephone pole on the beam. There is a huge black shadow, less than 4.5 meters away from him. Mr. White responded quickly. He slowly pointed the muzzle of the gun at the thing. Pulled the trigger without hesitation. Gunshots rang out. Monster. And he didn't fall as hard as he had expected. but immediately ran into him. The light from the monster's head also shines this way. Bullet out of fright. It has no effect on the organism. At this time, a strong stench filled the air. Almost smoked whiteout. The gunshot woke the owner of the store across the road, Sidney Gregg. The latter opened the door and looked out into the street. Just happened to see the monster coming down from the telephone pole. Gregg describes, "It was an incredible monster. He moves in a very peculiar way, grabbing a telephone pole with a giant drawing like a parrot. Slow and awkward downward movement. When he reached the ground, the height of the upright is about 8 feet. That's to point for meters. The center of his forehead glows brightly, like a flashlight. I saw it flapping its huge reckless wings. Jump forward like a kangaroo." As he observed the creature, the roar of the train came from the direction of the nearby railroad tracks, and the whistle. The creatures seemed startled by the sound. He suddenly leaned over. It feels like it's going to eject in the next second. Then quickly ran on all fours, heading towards the old coal mine. That's right, the limbs. The original text is recorded like this. And in the process of running, creature spreads its wings. It took off like a glide. Soon disappeared into the darkness. October 2nd. News of the monster spread throughout the town. Everyone is talking about this mysterious visitor. No one has ever seen or heard of this strange creature. Fear of the unknown. It started spreading like a virus. That night, the sky starts to fall with light rain. The town's mine manager, Pratt too? Here deep in a mine that has been shut down, there were strange sounds, like a hell of demons and goblins. As his footsteps approach, and it's getting louder. Next moment, the mouth of the monster spit fog rushed out. Fly to the sky. The shocking scene is not over yet. Right behind the first monster, it's followed by a smaller one. Almost all the workers present. I saw those two things. Some braver people even started approaching that mine. Mr. Pratt describes, the creature has a foot-like bulge on its forehead, exuding an unusual light. The sighting was reported that night. It quickly spread throughout the town. All the lights in the town are lit up. The men donned wide-brimmed hats and raincoats. Grab your weapons and meet at the mine, ready to wait for the creature to return again. Destroy them? The long wait has left many people feeling exhausted. Until around 5:45 in the morning. The sky is gradually lighting up. I saw that one big and one small, two giant black bats, approaching the old mine. Next moment, dense gunmen resounded throughout the mine. And the thing that responds to the bullet is the creature, a voice as ominous as dawn, and a bad smell. All of a sudden, the scene became very chaotic. However, and nothing stopped the monster. They just went deep into the old mine. Disappear. Townspeople. He collected all the explosives he could find. Bombed the mine entrance. After that, the monster never appeared again. People guess they may have been obsessed, lost in a complex underground passage, or wounded by dynamite bullets, silently waiting for death in the corner. Reporter Phillips is the first, a person who records the course of events in writing. The potato chip was reported on October 4, 1903, in the Des Moines Daily News. After, all major newspapers have reported on the incident, some degree of reprinting, and it's the whole process of the Van Mitt monster incident. Of course, this is not mixed with the book, the exaggeration of the author or the media. After the Van Mitt monster incident entered the 21st century. Attention again. In recent years, several documentary films have been made, and online media information. There are also some eyewitnesses recorded. But I don't think these reports are credible, because they are class-heavy. In recent years, hard to imagine, a creature didn't appear for 100 years. It was someone who happened to be seen when they were famous. Then back to the event topic again. Tall figure, bat-shaped magic wings, luminous orthotics on the top of the head, plus a possible 4. The weird characteristics of tribal walking, Van Mitt monster, image in the record, unlike any other creature we know. So, what about the residents of that year? What do you see? The main theory of the author Noah Voss in the text. Still think. The so-called visitors. It could be a species that has not been scientifically documented, or the descendants of some extinct species. So, let's start with this. Suppose this is a misidentification of some large bird. Eliminate dark situations. Yes, does it have the characteristics of feathers? The possibility of optical illusions. Bald next week is what we currently know. Body type distributed in North America. The largest bird. One of the largest individuals ever found is 3 meters tall. All the feathers are black. White spots on the underside of the wings. Color may cause pollution. The god Andes of Blue America. It is the largest known bird of prey in the world. The overall color is similar to the old California picture. Hanging neck. Surrounded by white feathers. The male has large white spots on his wings. He had a red crown on his head. They're bigger. A lamb can reach a maximum of 3.3 meters. Plus other things like Big T Lake, Big Block Road Golden Eagle and other individuals are all candidates. But none of them. It fits the size of the Van Mitt monster. And form. Noah Worth points out here. High probability of witnessing flying creatures. There is a visual error. And it all happens at night. It is inevitable that one doubts the reliability of the eyewitness's testimony. But he still thinks the Van Mitt monster should not be a known bird. Or a bat. Because at about the same time, all of North America, a large number of similar reports of flying organisms. In the mid to late 19th century, for example, the Lake Elizabeth monster of California, the Snallegass monster in Maryland in 1902, Stan's Glass Island creatures in Utah in 1903, and the 19th century, frequent Jersey Devil sightings, etc. The creatures described in these reports. In some characteristics, it is similar to the Van Mitt monster. Strikingly similar. Wings like a bat. Huge painting. Disturbing cry. Nocturnal, etc. This could lead to a phenomenon that we have not yet discovered. Confirmed new species. The United Nations Environment Program has mentioned it more than once. With the development of human society, huge numbers of species are dying in our imagination, less than the speed, mass extinction. So, is it possible? Some bizarre ones including the Van Mitt monster. Biological report, possibly from something that has not yet been discovered by humans. Due to habitat loss, sudden change in environment, or water pollution and other factors disappear. Species throughout history, thus forming monsters like the Van Mitt. Unsolved mystery. But as for why living things can make light, encountering physical attacks, and other characteristics that transcend the laws of nature, more research is needed. Another author, Nelson, mentions that Van Meter visitor may not belong to this dimension itself. Here, he mainly quotes American journalist John Deere. In The Prophetic Art of the Swansman, extraterrestrial concept, it roughly means, including those, the spirits depicted in ancient folklore. Fairy gods. In fact, it is similar to the swan that people later saw. Human-like creatures. It's the same thing. It's just a difference in name. People of every era have the understanding of every era. But without exception, these creatures are strange, and to some extent not subject to the laws of physics. They don't necessarily come from another planet. It doesn't have to be flesh and blood. It's a way to coexist with us, but in a different time frame. Power is a state of energy. In addition, he also mentioned the holographic universe and quantum mechanics. Observer effect. 3 micro-realities. It's a low-level representation of higher information. The so-called Van Mitt visitors are not afraid of bullets. Non-cadaveric nature. It may be because of its high-risk nature. Fragments of information, or human consciousness, participates in the construction of reality, and so forth. Now, all of his theories are controversial. Is to combine these mysterious events, to break human cognition. From the perspective of boundaries, the perspective is subversive. And compared to the above to guesses that go beyond common sense. Paranormal researcher Chad Lewis' theory is just the opposite. He thinks the whole Van Mitt monster thing is an orchestrated deception? So, let's start with this. Van Mitt in 1903 had no newspapers belonging to the town. The first report was published in Debu, in the special report of Our Daily Friends. That is, additional coverage. And this part, it does not need to be reviewed by the newspaper. That is to say, there is no way to disprove the authenticity of its content. And the newspaper published the article within 2 days. Published 2 consecutive articles. Rumor refuting article claims that Philip's description exaggerates the facts. But the author of the rumor article, no identifying information was revealed. Because of the scam. It may be as simple as attracting attention. Therefore, it is convenient for some people to sharpen. Like the Cardiff Giants of the late 19th century. Same as the Hodog incident. But the problem with this theory is that Van Mitt incident in late September and early October 1903. Only brief burst. No one. There's not enough media to tell these stories. The whole world from happening to acting. Only half a month. Even assuming there is a mastermind to push it all. But this did not prompt tourism. Or any business boom. No clear path to profitability. So, let's just say that he thinks the whole world is not very trustworthy. It's very likely, from the testimonials, self-suggestion or panic. the misperceptions generated. That's what we use to say. Group heterosis phenomenon. Actually, I personally prefer the theory of deception. But if I were to make a personal judgment, you have to go back to the basics. That is, why are all key sightings so dense? It broke out in 4 days from September 29th to October 2nd, 1903. This high degree of compression in time, migration with creatures, geological activity, even the usual patterns of herd depression don't match. It's more of a finely choreographed performance. And the audience is the whole town of Van Meet. All eyewitness reports, the glowing horns on the monster's forehead, all rush to the core identification mark. However, in that era, electric lighting is not yet widespread. The light source at night is extremely limited. There is no clear demand for martyrs. They didn't attack people. So a self-luminous being. And why in the human gathering area? Frequent haunt. In particular, many eyewitnesses mentioned that bunch. Dazzling light. And pungent smell. This reminds me of ghost fire hoaxes arose in the late 19th century. There are individuals will use white clouds, oxidation reactions with air in a dark environment, produces a faint blue-green glow. Apply forest powder to tombstones or strips of cloth. Create a ghost fire effect. Intimidate others. White phosphorus is a highly toxic substance that is easily naturalized. The natural temperature in the air is around 40 degrees Celsius. In an environment below 40 degrees Celsius, it may also be due to friction or slow oxidation to generate enough heat, causing local temperatures to rise to their natural point. It burns more slowly in humid environments. And the time of the Van Meet monster event. It was summer. And wet rain. Sky environment. White phosphorus itself has a pungent garlic smell. The white smoke produced after combustion. Phosphorus pentoxide. There is also a slight pungent sour taste. When burning is unsafe. May also produce the odor of chemical burning. This would also explain the smell people smell. And as for the image of the monster, and invulnerability, I guess, probably from some early projection equipment. So a slide projector, also called magic lanterns. This is a method of imaging using a convex lens. Put the picture, optical amplification equipment projected on the screen. It can be said to be the predecessor of the projector. This uses optical technology, machined for achieving projection effects, very popular in the 19th century. It's a common medium. It's used in education, but quite a few are also used as pranks. And in thinking of Motor reporter Griffith's description, lighthouse-like light and features across the sky. And the follow-up Greg, walking on all fours and invulnerability. I think it's very possible that someone intentionally used this device. Simulate the way an animal jumps or leaps. And most of the purposers say, the light emitted by this creature suddenly appeared. It woke them up. Except for the last workers. No one saw the creature leave. Falsification using white phosphorus and projection equipment. Although it sounds incredible. But I think it's a relatively reasonable explanation. And the legacy problem with physical evidence. I think this is also very doubtful. Chad Lewis says in the book that we can't find Dang now. footprint model made of jade. Very likely, it's because in 1911, Van Mitt had an encounter. Serious fire. There were no museums or anything like that. So, if the inverted footprint exists, then he is likely to be stored in the locals. A dense place or place of occurrence. Like a bank. To make it easier for people to visit. But the fire almost destroyed the core area of Van Mitt. Many necessary information and evidence. All burned. But here's the weird thing I found during the search. American occult zoologist Professor Lauren Kamen. In a blog post published in 2018, he said, "The International Museum of Mysterious Zoology has launched a exhibition on visitors to Van Mitt. Among the items in the picture, apparently there is a model that resembles a footprint. So Professor Lewis, was credible evidence found later? We have no way of knowing. Certainly, these are just some of my personal guesses. The image of the giant glowing bird of the Van Mitt monster reminds me of Papua I talked about earlier. Robin of New Guinea. Same glow. The same night planet. We don't know. What evidence did the 1911 fire take away? Maybe the Van Mitt monster really exists. And it's a large one beyond our comprehension. Flying species. But maybe he erased it. It is these last traces of collective creation. Maybe. Today, on the outskirts of Van Mitt, the collapsed old mine has been cordoned off. But our exploration of the unknown never stops. What is that creature? The answer is no longer important. What's really alarming is the way the story is told. When we consider unidentified organisms, when reduced to a curious label, is it also? I extinguish the possibility of understanding complex history with my own hands. Okay, that's the last sentence. The unknown is always greater than the known. That's the allure of ambiguity. This video is here. Thanks for watching.